Howdy y'all. Today we're going to be talking about cowboy hat etiquette. I made a video about cowboy boots a while back, and oh my goodness, I got a lot of comments saying I should do a video about cowboy hat etiquette. I mentioned I might do one, and well, it looks like you guys wanted it. So here's the video about cowboy hat etiquette. And we're just going to, go through a bunch of stuff. Now a lot of these, rules aren't, super rigid. Some of them, are much more rigid than others. Others aren't quite as rigid, and some of them have, laxed up over time. They were probably a lot stricter, back in the day, but as it is right now, they're not quite as strict as they once were. So I mean, number one thing is don't take a man's hat. Don't knock it off his head. It's don't do it. It's disrespectful. Plus, if you don't own a lot of cowboy hats can be expensive. You don't want to be whacking $300 off their head or more if you have a really nice hat. So I mean, don't whack it off their head, that kind of thing. You don't ask to borrow a man's hat. I actually have a great little quote. It's from a show called Heartland. And think of what you will of the show. It's a drama. It's whatever. But the quote is, asking a man to borrow his hat is like asking a man to borrow his girl. It ain't gonna happen. That's Caleb Odell. But it's a great little quote. Don't go running off with another man's hat. It's just not the thing to do. Now, as far as when to keep your hat on, when to take it off. It used to be if you went into any building, you would take it off. Now, in my opinion, that's not quite the case anymore. Like if I'm walking into a Walmart or a Costco or something, I'm not taking off my hat. It's going to stay on my head. Same with like restaurants. It used to be you would take off your hat when you walked into a restaurant, and nowadays restaurants they have no place for you to set your hat. So the safest place is on your head, because I could take off my hat and I could put it on the table, or I could put it on a seat next to me. But if somebody comes along and sits on the hat, or somebody spills coffee on it or juice or something, then hats aren't super cheap. I don't really want somebody spilling coffee on a $300 hat. Or if you've got a much more expensive hat, like like a $500 hat or $800 hat, then you don't want to get it totally wrecked just because you wanted to get some lunch at a diner. So if you're in a diner, I leave it on my head. Now, if you're talking to a lady, I take off my hat. They eat it up. They absolutely love it. If they're playing the national anthem and if they're praying, you always take off your hat. I don't care if you're religious. When they're praying, you take off your hat. It is a sign of respect. So, yeah, when they're praying, national anthem, hat off. It used to be sometimes you would take your hat off when you're dancing. I leave my hat on when I'm dancing. I love it. It's great. And then when you're talking to a lady, they eat it up. They absolutely love it. Yeah, take your hat off when you meet a lady. Sometimes if you meet a gentleman that's older than you, you'll take off your hat when you shake his hand, but not always. That people don't tend to do that one as much anymore. Also, you take your cowboy hat if you're going into somebody's house. There's very few exceptions that really apply to this one. I mean, if you go to somebody's house and you're gonna be like working at their house and you're going in and out of their house all day, then you can probably leave your cowboy hat on, because you don't want to be taking it off every 2 minutes if you're like taking stuff in and out of the house or something. So I mean, there's very few restrictions where that apply. But generally, if you go into somebody's house, especially if it's somebody new, then take off your hat. Some people don't necessarily take their hat off in their own house, which it's their own house. They can do what they want. So now when it comes to just handling your hat, if you look, every time I've grabbed it, you grab it by the brim. Now it's just because not the brim, the crown. The crown of your hat is a lot sturdier than the brim. I'm not just gonna rip it off there. The brim is not near as sturdy as the top crown of your hat. So then you can just pinch it right here, and grab it like that. Now when you are setting your hat down somewhere, you don't set it face down like this. If you look, the brim goes down. Same on this hat. The brim goes down. It's supposed to do that. Now, if you set the hat, on a flat surface like this, this brim is going to slowly bend up, and then you just got a totally flat hat. But yeah, don't set it on the brim. It bends it out. It's the most brittle part of your hat. So you always grab it by the crown. When you're setting it down, you want to set it on top like this. You want to set it on top of the crown, so that way you're not bending this brim up, because this brim is the least sturdy part, and you'll bend it up, and then you just gotta flat hat, and then it doesn't bend down, doesn't shed rain right, doesn't block the sun right. So, you know, grab it by the top and set it on the top. Same goes with, you know, straw hats, same thing. Grab it by the top. If you do want to grab it a different way, what you can do is you can put your fingers on the inside here, put your thumb kind of wrapped around, and you're mainly holding it with your fingers, and then your thumb's just kind of there to hold it. You can hold it like that too, but I mainly prefer to hold it by the top, and then it, you know, sits right up there when you're not, you know, setting it down. Now, places to set it down, you don't want to set your cowboy hat, especially a felt cowboy hat, by any direct artificial heat source. You don't want to be setting it down by a fire. You don't want to be setting it down by a heater. You don't want to be setting it down on top of a lamp. A lamp seems like a great place to set your hat. You know, it's cone-shaped. Your hat just sits right up there until somebody comes and turns on the lamp, and then it shrinks up your hat, and then, you know, this leather band's all cracked inside, and then your hat doesn't fit because all the felt fibers just shrunk up. Same thing with a car. If you leave your hat on the dash of the car, and then, you know, you come back and your hat fit like this. So yeah, you don't want to leave it on the dash of your car because you'll end up, you know, having a cowboy hat that's a few sizes too small. Now, when it comes to the time to wear felt hats, the time to wear straw hats, generally, cold weather, you wear a felt hat. Warm weather, you'll wear a straw hat. Now, I love my felt hat a lot. It's probably getting too hot. I should probably switch to a straw hat, but I just love my felt hat. It's great. But yeah, no, I will be switching because, you know, once it starts getting 95 and, you know, 80% humidity, it gets pretty toasty to wear a felt hat. But generally, if it's hot outside, you wear a straw hat. Cold outside, you wear a felt hat. I might have said that backwards, but oh well. Another thing is if you're at any formal event, you're going to wear your felt cowboy hat. If you're wearing a suit, you're going to wear your felt cowboy hat. Anything formal, you will be wearing a felt cowboy hat. If it's, you know, something really informal, you can wear a straw cowboy hat, especially if it's in the summer. But if it's a formal event, you wear a felt cowboy hat. Now, as far as just complete dress code go, you can wear the hat. Sorry, you can wear your boots without the hat. You don't really wear the hat without the boots. Just typically, that's how, you know, normally dress codes go. Now, it doesn't mean you have to follow that completely. Again, a lot of these rules are kind of suggestions. You don't have to follow all of them, but generally, that's what I do. I can wear the boots without the hat, but I don't wear the hat without the boots. Now, this one's a little more superstition. I happen to follow this one, but, you know, you don't have to. But there's, you know, a superstition that, you know, if you set your cowboy hat on your bed, it is bad luck. So I don't set my cowboy hat on my bed. But also, you know, if you set it on your bed, it's liable to get sat on too. Same with like a chair. Be mindful of where you just set your cowboy hat. You know, try to set it, you know, somewhere where it's not going to get sat on, anything like that. Now, I probably forgot about something. No, so if you have a cowboy hat rule that I haven't heard of, or if I forgot to mention, put it down in the comments. If you liked this video, let me know, and I bet you'll love this video right up here. Other than that, hope you have a great day, and I'll see you later.